Peace, greetings, grand rising, good morning, welcome. We are now entering day 11, which is the beginning of phase 2. So we can clap that up. All right, now we're gonna take this thing a notch higher. We now have an understanding. We've laid a foundation of, what we're trying to attempt and peeling back the scabs of some things that maybe have troubled us over the course of time. Phase 2, call to adventure. The goal, identify the moments that forced growth or broke you. Identify the moments that forced growth or broke you. As young people growing up in the hood, we're forced to grow up a lot earlier than anticipated in most cases, not all. Some people have had great childhoods and they were sheltered, they were loved, they were cared for, so we don't want to dismiss any of that, but a lot of us were forced to grow up, and a lot of us were broken by certain situations. I want to make something very clear as we move forward. I'm going through the same things you're going through. The only difference is I filled out my journey inside of my book. You gotta laugh to keep from crying. That's the only difference. But I am not immune to pain, suffering, trauma. Even the stuff that I did release in the book, there was still more. So understand this. We are on this journey together. No one is above anyone else. I'm just the one quarterbacking, this particular hero's journey in hopes that, some things I've been through or whatever the case may be can help us move this thing we call life along. All right? Life isn't fair. That's the attribute of the day, the quote of the day, the affirmation. Life isn't fair. The world showed its sharp edges early. What was the first time you realized life wasn't fair? How did that change you? When did you realize that you were at some form of disadvantage? Because I often speak about in my neighborhood as children, we didn't know we were poor. In the sense that everyone seemed to have the same. We shared everything we had. If we had a slice of pizza, you split it down the middle with your best friend. We drank quarter waters. We went outside and played every day. We were able to borrow from our neighbors without it being a shameful thing. And it wasn't until the entertainers in particular, the rappers, started bragging and boasting so much that we realized it was so much that we didn't have. And it wasn't until we got older that we looked at the way society was structured with discrimination and all these other things that it really wasn't fair. And then the justice system. We know as we get older and understand what that is about, that a lot of times the system itself isn't fair. Life's unfairness does not define my worth. And that's what I want you to be able to focus on. Life's unfairness does not define my worth. And still we rise, as Maya Angelou would say. And still, in spite of discrimination, in spite of police brutality, in spite of racism, in spite of all these institutional programs designed to shut us down, still we rise. And so there's something in us that nothing can truly hold us back. You know what I mean? And unless you take on the mindset of victim consciousness. So I don't want to hear the white man did this, or I get it. All of that stuff is playing in the background. But we are the only ones who can overcome all of that and still be successful. So I'm not letting nothing hold me back. I'm not letting the fact that I didn't have my dad in my life hold me back. I'm not letting the fact that I grew up in a neighborhood and they sold drugs. I didn't have to, and I didn't. You know what I mean? So let's put that aside. And the first step is victim consciousness has to be shed away from you. Don't tell me you fat because something that happened at 9 years old. And it may be connected to a traumatic event that happened at that point, but you're going to have to let that go at some point. All right? When did you first notice the world's unfairness? Was it at home, at school, or in society? What did the moment teach you about safety, trust, or justice? How can you move from bitterness towards acceptance and empowerment? And this is what I mean when we talk about shedding victim consciousness. We have to grab the power back of our existence. And yes, police brutality does exist. And yes, they are discriminating at the job. And all of these things are true, but if you don't accept them deep down within and say that my mission is my mission, you have an opportunity to overcome and move forward. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even see the police. When I'm walking or driving, I don't see them because they are not relevant to my existence. Now, my man might be leaning down in the car because he got 2 warrants. That's a different story. They do exist for him, but not for me. And I don't want to give them power that I do not have to give them at any cost. All right? Life's unfairness can harden us or awaken us. You can't change the edges of the world, but you can soften how you hold yourself through them. Interesting. We can't change the edges of the world, but we can see how we hold ourselves through them. And that's also very, very important. The world showed you its sharp edges early, right? What was when you realized it was unfair? I get it. All right? Life has a way of revealing its edges. Maybe you remember the first time something happened that simply wasn't fair. A punishment you didn't deserve, a dream denied, a truth no one believed. Okay? And so it is what it is. When you go to Vegas, you know them tables is not fair. You do know that, right? You do know there is no fairness in that. You are going to lose. But if you have the right mindset, the right attitude, you might walk out of there with $300-400. It's happened to me a couple of occasions. That was the moment innocence met reality. Or what was the moment? We've learned that when the world doesn't always hand out justice, the good people hurt and bad things sometimes win. That's just the reality of life itself. That's the reality of life itself. Good people, you say, I'm paying my taxes, I do this and that, I'm a good person, but yet I'm still behind, or this is still happening. It's just the reality of things. That awareness changes us. It hardens some hearts and deepens others. The invitation today isn't to deny the unfairness, but to ask, what did the moment teach you about your own power? So as you're writing in your journal, what did that unfairness moment teach you about your own power or lack thereof? Yes? Okay, all right, that's what we want to know. You may not have been able to control the outcome, but you can choose your response now, okay? So we're old enough, we're wise enough now to let certain things bother us and certain things not bother us. That choice belongs to us. Bitterness keeps you tied to the injustice. So when you hold on to it that something wasn't fair and this didn't happen, and now you become a prisoner, as we spoke about, of those circumstances. We want to develop tough skin and let things go, especially things that we can't personally change. As much as you are a great person, you can't personally change racism. You can't personally make crooked cops or racist cops feel for you. So don't concern yourself with those things. We only want to concern ourselves with the things that we can control. Acceptance, not approval, but clarity, frees your hands to build something new. And that's what we're doing At this first day of phase 2, since we've laid the foundation, we want to build something new. As you journal, write the story of that unfair moment, then write what strength, awareness, or compassion was born from it. Again, you still gonna have to relive certain aspects in your childhood. Go back and remember the first time you felt you was treated unfair. If it was at school, you got caught talking, but your friend was talking too. You know how that goes. Or somebody pushed you and, you pushed them back. That happens a lot in my household with Eli and Elijah. Eli would push Odyssey right when he saw us coming in the house. This is how calculated he was at 3 and 4 years old. And when she responds and pushed him back, guess what we see? We see her responding and pushing her disabled brother, and it's on and popping. And she looks confused and he's laughing. And so these things happen, all right? And the closing encouragement is, you can't control life's sharp edges, but you can choose not to cut yourself on them anymore. Fair or not, you are still worthy, still rising, okay? And so, the edges are sharp, and if you continue to grasp and hold tight to those edges, you're gonna get cut. Or you can handle broken glass the way you're supposed to, very cautiously, very delicately, and so that you don't cut yourself as you clean up the mess, and in this case, the mess of unfairness, if that makes any sense. And so as we begin this next phase, I want you to reflect. I want you to breathe. I want you to stay focused. I want you to pull out your Post-its that came with your journal, if you purchased the journal, and just write down something that you're going to accomplish today, no matter what, all right? And when we post it and we place it somewhere, maybe on the back of your cell phone, so every time that you pull out your phone, that message is there, or whatever the case may be, you have an opportunity to, address certain issues. And of course, as I always say, live, learn, laugh, and love. I love you. I hope you love yourself. And we are going to get through this. All right? Peace.